The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang has been a well-received book for quite a while. Since it came out, it has gotten some really nice reviews, and I was very interested in reading it. But there was no time, and the wait list at the library was very long, so I decided to skip it until a few months ago when a book reviewer that I follow suggested this book again and how he liked it. So I decided to give it a chance, and I waited for the audiobook. And when I got it, I was really excited to listen to it, but I totally forgot it was YA, and I no longer do YA books anymore. And this book reminded me why I don't do YA or listen to YA anymore. I listened to the audiobook, and the narrator, she did such a good job. But Rin is 16, 15, and she acts like a bratty 15, 16-year-old would. So the voice actress sounded like a bratty 15, 16-year-old. So it was so hard to get through. And I just had to push myself to even, there were moments where I had to really push myself to listen and I needed to tell myself, they're just 16, she's just a kid. I think what made this book special are the other characters and the world. Yes, the world she built, but I think the other characters really make this book special. I think only two really matter overall in the series, and that's Naja and Kitai. When we first get introduced to Naja, he is your typical mean, pretty boy. He's also very, I don't want to say he's more important than the other warlord's sons, but he has a lot of influence among his classmates, and he's very rich, and he comes from a very dedicated family line. So he has this very pompous attitude towards him. And since he's so elite, of course, he thinks Rin is like this Southern Hig. And Rin doesn't take kindly to that. They instantly hate each other. They don't like each other. It's totally understandable why Rin doesn't like him. And it's understandable that Naja doesn't like Rin. Throughout the whole first part of this book, they hate each other on sight. They come to blows with each other any time that they can. Naja mocks Rin, and Rin retaliates back. And like they have this very constant feeling for each other, and that is dislike. I absolutely loved this relationship in the first part of this book. There was no romantic tension between them. There were no side-eyeing each other in a romantic way. Naja never did anything kind to Rin to kind of show his soft side. No, Naja was just an ass throughout the whole part one, and Rin was an ass back in all of part one. It was so nice to see no romantic intentions between these two characters. There is no enemies to lovers here. It was pure hate, and I loved it. I loved how it was just that they just didn't like each other. It was refreshing to hear, and I like when books don't depend on romance for the book to succeed or for the book to be interesting. I've had my time when I would just read romance novels. Now I kind of like branched out to other books. It took me a while to actually branch out to other books other than romance, but once I did, it's nice to read another book that really doesn't depend on the romance to keep the story going or keep it interesting. So in this first part, Naja and Rin, they absolutely hate each other. Another important character in Rin's life is Kitai. I absolutely love Kitai. He's adorable. I think they mentioned that he's 1 year younger than Rin with his whole class. He's brilliant. He has a photographic memory, but he also has a engineer
mindset. He is so inventive, so much that he helps create these traps when the Federation comes and attacks the school synagogue. And of course, he is an outcast, the same as Rin, but in a different way. Kid Tai is also very well loved. His father is an advisor to the Empress, and he has siblings that are accomplished. So he is another wealthy character. The thing that makes him an outcast is the fact that he is smarter than Naja and much more brilliant. And Naja, of course, doesn't like anything being smarter than him. So of course, if Naja doesn't like someone, everybody doesn't like that person. So Kid Tai becomes sort of this outcast, and he doesn't mind. He befriends Rin, and they become best buddies. They become so close, and Kid Tai is so loyal to Rin. He is so cute. Sometimes Rin gets very angry, and she takes it out. She doesn't take it out on Kid Tai, but she lashes out on Kid Tai. Kid Tai tries to tame her, but in a way that won't get her in trouble. Throughout the first part, Rin doesn't listen to anybody other than herself. So when Kid Tai tries to calm her down, it can get really frustrating when Rin kind of lashes out on him when he doesn't deserve it. He is always looking after her. When we get towards the ending of part 1, I think that's when it becomes much more exciting. We get the exams. Rin is tested by all the masters, and they all can ask her questions. She does really well. And one of her old masters kind of asked her this very particular question. And when I was rereading this book, I think these are the moments where I found it so exciting, because R.F. Kuang was sprinkling like little details that are not needed until book 3, but they're important to know. And this is a moment where the lore master asked her who gets to be in the mountain or something like that. And Rin doesn't really know how to answer that. And it's just so exciting to reread it, because this is so important to Rin's future. This question is a warning to Rin. And that's what R.F. Kuang does. She sprinkles little warnings to Rin that Rin just completely brushes off. Like, she doesn't really. Rin is so quick-witted, and she is smart, but it's during these small moments that she just doesn't pay attention too much. One of my other reasons why I think Rin is self-centered, and she doesn't listen to anybody other than herself. It's really nice to reread it and just giggle. I just giggle because it's so important. So Rin tries to answer that question. She doesn't. And we get into the fighting part of the exams. Rin has been training with the lore master, and so she has like this different technique than the other students, which is a huge benefit for her. She's like breezing by the fighting. And I think one of my favorite moments before she gets in the fight with Naja is when Rin lands a punch in Venka's face, and it is a moment I just appreciate so much. Venka has been so mean to Rin, so mean to her, and Kid Tai, I think, mentions that no one has really landed a blow on her because she's this prestigious person. No one wants to hurt her, and the fact that she's a girl, a high society girl. So when Rin punches her in the face, it's like a yes, it's like a victory moment for Rin, but also for like the readers who are just happy to see a bully get a smack in the face like they deserve. When Rin gets into the ring with Naja, everybody knows that they have beef between each other. Some of the upperclassmates told Rin to just back out. Naja is too strong, he's too violent, you're never gonna survive. And this is where I appreciate Rin so much, where she has confidence in herself and she does kick his butt. She does wonderful in the ring. Naja, of course, does also really well. They both just hash it out, and I loved it. No punches were pulled. They just went at it, and I appreciate that R.F. Kuang managed to actually have some physical violence between two characters of the opposite gender. usually you don't really read that. No one wants to read or listen to a girl get beat up. But in this sense, it makes sense for Rin to get hit by Naja because they are fighting. Rin is capable of fighting back and kicking butt. I appreciate this in her book that even though Rin is a girl, she still gets her butt whipped, and she retaliates. Like she's able to retaliate. So I love that. I think the only part that really upset me, and it was supposed to upset people, was when Naja slapped Rin in the face while fighting. That was a huge insult. I When I was listening to it the first time, I was so appalled. I was so angry. It's just this huge insult on a warrior, on a fighter, on a classmate that you slap someone. It is like you slap me because I know I'm a woman and you're a man and you think you're stronger and more better than me. It's like this huge insult, and Rin took it as an insult, as she should. She's in an environment right now that she's using that anger, she's using that beef. She is so angry and she's full of rage that she summons the phoenix inside of her, which is a lot. It's saying a lot. Like she has these very negative emotions towards Naja, that she is able to summon the phoenix of chaos. This phoenix, this god phoenix, she's not a good person, or they are not a good entity at all. You don't want this entity inside of you, but she welcomes it, and she loves this feeling of power over her. Because she feels the phoenix trying to come out, she has to run to the lore master, and where he helps her in containing the phoenix. And they have like this discussion of admitting that Alton also had the same problem, but he couldn't protect him, Alton, but he can protect Rin. Rin does some manipulation here where she just wants to learn how to use the phoenix for her own ambition, and kind of tells Jung the opposite of I just really want to learn like how this works and why I'm like this. And I think the lore master believes it at some level. He believes her, but he is more dedicated to protecting her in that moment, trying to protect her from summoning this god inside of her. Zhang take Rin as an apprentice, and this is the beginning of creating a monster. It really is.